Good evening, and welcome to Bring It to the Table on a Friday night. I pray that you've had a great week and that everybody in your family has been well and that you all have been blessed. It's Friday night and you've had I'm hoping you had a great week. So tonight I would like for you to get to the table with a glass of wine, milk, orange juice, whatever your taste buds call for, and let's have a conversation. I'm going to give you the request line, which is 310-910-9676, extension 1. Again, the request line is 310-910-9676, extension 1. Let me hear from you. You know, this week for me, it's been really quite kind of strange, but yet I've heard from quite a few people that have called me, texted me, have sent me emails about the things that they're going through and the circumstances that they're in. And they asked if I could talk about circumstances tonight because they're dealing with some struggles and they're having some struggles. And I said, sure, you know, we've talked about circumstances a couple of weeks ago. And if this is what you want at the table tonight, it can be there. It is here at the table. And, you know, life is right now, so much is going on, you know, with the war and just so much. And people are struggling and they don't know how to get out of the struggle. They're sitting in their box, or they're sitting in their holding pattern. All of these things, and some of them are just don't know whether to turn to the right or to the left, and they're just struggling. And let me just kind of read something that I read this a couple of weeks ago, I believe. And I just want to read it again. And when we were talking about circumstances, this is what I came up with. To change the circumstances in your life, you must change the way you think. Behind everything you do is a thought. Every behavior is motivated by a belief, and every action is prompted by an attitude. The way you think can also determine the way you feel, and the way you feel can influence the way you act. And I think with all of that, there must be a spiritual renewing of your thoughts and attitude when you're dealing with circumstances. And I also think, and I came kind of cross with this, be careful. Know that your life is shaped by your own thoughts. Are you ready for your journey into changing your circumstances? You have to be ready to want to change your circumstances. A lot of times we talk about circumstances, we talk about being in a struggle, but when you really look at it, are you really ready to change? And sometimes we are and sometimes we're not. But I think when we are ready to change, it's because we are in that place where enough is enough, and they want to, or you want to, change your circumstances. And in order to change your circumstances, I think too, we must unmask ourselves and get out of our own way. And I kind of wrote something when I had these calls come in this week, and the texts and the emails. I kind of wrote this. The first step could be to unmask yourself. You must understand that if all starts with self, it all starts with ourselves. You must know who you are and whose you are. That allows you to get out of your own way. When you kind of know who you are and where you are, you can kind of start to get out of your own way. You can, I believe. And I could be wrong, but I want you to call in if you have some questions, or if you want to just really get real deep in this, call me so we can talk about it. Also, I think things have to begin in a place where you have to stop trying to please everybody. You can't continue to please everybody and come out of your circumstances or come out of your struggles, because while you're trying to come out of the struggle or try to change your circumstances, you're trying to please everybody else. You can't do that. It just won't work. It doesn't work for me. So I don't think it'll work. You have to stand firm in your own self and sit down and think things through and not try to jumpstart your mind with negative thoughts and negative energy. Those things, it just doesn't work, I don't think, when you're trying to change your circumstances or even when you're trying to come out of the struggle. And when you're trying to change your circumstances and trying to come out of the struggle, I feel you have to stop talking to everybody about it. You have to, because everybody don't mean you no good. So you can't, I don't like using the word can or shouldn't, but you have to think about it. You can't keep into that, because that's where the stress and all the other problem lies, when you talking to someone else about the situation that you're going through, about the struggle or about your circumstances. We have to step back. And when you do that, if you're going to talk to anybody, talk to the Lord, because He is the only one that can pull you out of that struggle, as well as out of that circumstance. He is the only one. So you have to get yourself in a position to know that, hey, if I'm going to talk to anybody about it, He already knows, but He wants you to talk to Him about it. He already knows about the problem. He already knows about the struggle, but He wants you to talk about it, So in doing that, it makes things all the better, because now you are opening up yourself and allowing yourself to hear from your high supreme being, or whoever that may be. Then it works. I think it works. Rashid, you're looking at me. Are you kind of in on this with me? Because I hear you, I see you looking at me. Are you kind of in on what I'm saying here about changing your circumstances and coming out of the struggle, where one must not feed into negative energy or any of that sort? You can't just talk to any and everybody about your circumstances or about your struggle?
I mean, I get that. That just comes from a place of trust, because you can only talk about these certain issues and situations with people that you trust. I mean, it's very rare that like someone that's from an outside source that can actually help you with your problem. It's very rare, but it does happen. So it's like, shouldn't be afraid to overall share what you're going through, but at the same time, just gotta be careful with who you share it with.
Yeah, I agree. And you have to, I think you have to really know that person. You have to really know that person when you are going to sit down and talk to that person about the situation or about whatever your struggle is or whatever it is that you're going through. You have to really know them. You have to really know that they're for you. They're your friend. They're really, and it could be a sister, it could be a family member, but you have to know they're really in your corner, and that they are going to listen and not pass judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that sometimes, and I talked about this last week, the advice, because a lot of times, if you have not been asked not only the advice but your opinion, you have to be careful when you sit down and talk with that person, if they're going to just listen, or are they going to give their opinion, or are they going to wait for you to give their opinion to whatever it is that you're going through. So again, like you said, trust is very important. You have to really trust that individual when you're going through it.
Right, and you just got to be someone that's not always just going to be quick to judge. That they're willing to listen, and then if need be, give advice. But it's like it's always good to have someone that to just listen to your problems, so that you can just get it off your chest, so that way you feel a bit better now that like you've talked about with somebody. Because keeping things in, not exactly the best thing to do as an individual. Just to keep all those emotions, just bottled up inside. Like, you have to be able to at least trust to be able to tell somebody what you're going through at like any given point in time.
That's true. That's true, because keeping things inward only creates a physical problem with yourself. People wind up with ulcers and all sorts of things. So it's always best to let it out. And then, and when you don't have that person you can really go to and really trust, I still think talking it, sitting in your own space, in your own room or wherever you are, and just talking it out, just talking things out. Sometimes you can talk things out and really say, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I see how I can handle this. I see how I can do this. Because you're listening, you're talking out loud. And again, I feel when you're talking out loud, you're still talking to your Heavenly Father, whoever that may be, whoever your God is, you're talking. And then and it comes to a place when you do that, you're sitting, and eventually, you'll get the answer you're looking for, or you'll get the help that you're looking for. And it's amazing how sometimes you're going through something and you're talking something out and you're looking for an answer, and you don't know, naturally you don't know where the answer is going to come from, or who or how it's going to come. But then there's a knock on the door or a phone call from somebody that you had not even thought about calling, or you hadn't even talked to in a long time, and call you, and all of a sudden there's your answer. There's your answer. And it can happen. So you just have to be open to know that there is an answer, but most of all, that there is a God out there that's going to hear your situation, because he already knows your situation, And so I was really amazed this week on how many phone calls I did receive and texts I received, as well as emails, about people going through so much and going through different challenges in their lives, and a challenge, and not only the challenge, but the struggle in their lives. And I mentioned a while back, struggles come in all forms. We all have some type of struggle somewhere we're struggling with. And the way the world is right now and what we're going through right now, I think everybody's struggling in some aspect. But now how we come out of the struggle, or how you come out of the struggle, again, it's entirely up to you. And I think when you come out of it, or try to come out of it, it all starts again with self, and it all starts at how you renew your mind. Because you have to have a renewing of the mind to be able to come out of situations. Because if your mind is not renewed, you're still stuck. You're still right there. Because you can't see anything else but that situation. And when you only see that situation, it makes it hard for you to come out of the situation, because you haven't renewed your mind in order to do that. And I also think that when you are in a struggle, you should know your struggle. Because if you know your struggle, it's easy for you to embrace your struggle and overcome the struggle. Because if you don't know what the struggle is, you can't embrace it. I see you nodding your head over there. Is that right, Rashid? Yeah, you can't. You have to know your struggle, and once you know it, you have to embrace it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to embrace your struggle, because when you want to come out of the struggle, you will be very eager to change and have that renewing of your mind, because you will no longer cling to your old ways, and you won't cling to that struggle that you're going through, because now you're giving yourself fully to the adventure of increasing and focusing your thoughts on being transformed from other things and being transformed so that you can have a renewing of your mind. And for those out there that my Christian sisters and brothers, you know, by renewing your mind, we always go to what is that? We always go to Philippians 2:5 and Proverbs 4:23, as well as Romans 8:28 and Romans 12:1-2 and Ephesians 4:23-25. That's where we go. We lean and we get that basic instructions before leaving earth. That's the Bible. We get that Bible and we go through them. We go through those pages and try to find the right scriptures that fit what we're going through. And for those that are not believers and you're going through the struggle, and I'm saying this because I had 2 calls this week from people that are not believers, and I know you're listening because you said you were going to listen, and pick up the word. Pick the word up. That's the Bible. And go to these scriptures. Go to Philippians 2:5 and read it. And then when you read it, when you finish reading it, go on over to Proverbs 4:23. You know, and I'm saying these scriptures because I know you have a Bible there and you have read it, but you're just not, where you feel as though you should be, or because you're saying, hey, I'm not this, I'm not that. But read it, as well as go ahead on over to Romans 8:28, Romans 12:1-2, and Ephesians 4:23-25. Read it. And let it get down within inside of you. Read it. And I guarantee you it's going to help. And when you start to reading the word, you will be so enlightened to some things that you had never even thought you would be enlightening to. So check it out. Because right then you're allowing yourself and you're going into prayer about the situation. That's the only way we can do it. We as Christians can't do it no other kind of way. So I'm saying and suggesting to you, get on board and try that, because it'll work. Because prayer changes things. And a lot of times we think that we're not being heard, but we are. We're being heard. You being heard. You are. Now, the situation that you're going through, the struggle that you're going through, the circumstances may not all come together so quickly as you would like for it to, but don't give up. Our Heavenly Father is always on time. Always on time. And you have to allow yourself to know that everything is done decent and in order, and it's all done in His will and His time. So the struggles that we all go through, we all go through some struggles, but we all have to know how to embrace the struggle, and we have to know how to understand the struggle. And not only that, we have to look at, how did I get into the struggle? How did I get there? Again, everything starts with self. Did you bring this struggle or this situation upon yourself? And now you're sitting in a pattern where, okay, how do I get out? what do I do? But you got yourself in it. But now sometimes we're trying to get ourselves out of it, but we can't get out of it by ourselves. Because when we try to get out of it by ourselves, we just mess things up. We just mess it up, mess it up, mess it up. So we can't. We have to sit and know that this too shall pass, but it will pass in God's time and in His will and on His watch. But you have to be able to accept that. You have to be able to accept that. Because I think once a person accepts that, things will go a lot better. Things will be smoother. You'll deal with circumstances a little bit different. You'll understand some of the struggles, some of the things that you go through a lot better. Now again, that's just Miss Gigi's thought. It's just my thought. And I hope that you can get something out of this. So when you call me this week, you can tell me, I do understand it a little bit better. And that's what I want you to do, is understand some things a little bit better. And try to learn how to deal with some situations a little bit better. And a couple of you call me because you're dealing with some situations with your kids. Yeah, and I say kids because although they are at the age of 19, 20, but they're always still our kids. And that you're dealing with some situations, you're dealing with some things that you don't know, you don't know how to cope with it. But again, take it to the Lord, look at it, and know that He'll work it out for you. And sit down with your kids and talk to them, and open up yourself to where is it that they want to talk to you. They want to talk to you, because like you were telling me, they don't talk to you. But again, it starts with self. So open yourself up, put yourself in a position where they want to talk to you. And once they bring it to you and talk to you, try not to be so judgmental. And try not to criticize them so. Because when we're very judgmental and criticize them and not show them any love, they turn someplace else or to something else. And that's what you're trying not to have happen. You're trying not to have that happen. So I would say, be that mother that you are, and be that father that you are. But sit down with them and let them know that you're sitting here because you want to hear what they have to say. But receive them in love when they come to you. Because there's so much going on out there to where is it that they get caught up. They get caught up in the gangs, the drugs, and a whole different lifestyle. And now that they're wanting to go to college, or they're at that point in their life of college, if you don't show that love and sit down and let them talk to you, you're going to lose them. And you don't want that. You don't want to lose them. Not at all. So just listen to what they have to say, because they're taking a step that it's hard for them. And that step is to come to their parents and talk to their parents. It's hard for them because of the way things have been between their parents and them. So you want to make it easy. You want to make it to the point where they are happy and want to come and talk to their parents and will not hold back. you know. And I mean, you didn't totally go into the whole situation with me, but I will say this. Sit down, all four of you together, and talk about it. And then I would even suggest that you break away and let the son and the father talk and the mother and the daughter talk. Because there's some things that the daughter may want to share with the mother, but don't want to really talk about it in front of the father, and vice versa. So you have to try to make it where is that they will feel comfortable in talking to their parents as a whole, all at the table, and feel comfortable knowing that I can go to my mom and talk to my mom, or I can go to my dad and talk to my dad. And I'm not going to be, talked bad about or talked bad to. You don't want that with them. And right now, you're struggling with some things. You guys are struggling because you're trying to reach out to them, and they're not responding, because when they tried to talk to you all before, you had no time. And then you were frowning down on them. So, they have some things that they're dealing with. But now it's a time that, hey, come together as a family unit. Family unit. I'm glad you reached out this week. I'm glad you reached out and let me know that that's a struggle. That's a situation that you're going through. And it's going to be all right. It's going to work out. It's all going to come together. It's all going to come together. And when it does, keep it, where is it that? The door is always open. The door is always open. Because something Rashid said a minute ago, trust is so important. You have to trust them, and they have to trust you. Trust. Because once you break that trust, it's hard to get it back. And you don't want to break it. You don't want to break it. So, open up your heart and sit down at the table with your kids. Because, see, now they're at the age where when you look up, they're gone, they're married, have their own life, and have no time for you, because this is where they are. And things didn't work out when they were at home. So now they have their own families, and they don't even want their parents around. And you don't want that either. So because right now they're at that age is where that they're trying to focus, and they're trying to see where their life is going to lead. Even we're trying to make the decision of what kind of career they're wanting. That's where they are now. And you want them to have a positive lifestyle and a positive thinking. That's what you want. And then again, too, they're saying college right now, but we know college is not for everybody. So if they decide that they don't want to go to college, don't frown down on them, because college is not for everybody. And they can be successful without even going to college. And I know a lot of times, if not most of the times, we always want our children to go to college. But we also have to know that college is not for everybody. And when you get to the place in your life, or in the place where you're going to sit down, you have to be open. You should be open to that. If they come to you and say, you know what, I know in the very beginning I was looking at college, but now I don't want to do that. Don't close the door on them. Let them tell you what they want and what they're looking at. And it may not be to your liking, but it may be very, very good for them to venture out into that, as long as it's positive. As long as it's positive. And it may be a career. They may be wanting to follow you in whatever it is, what your career was about. You know. And then you have to stop and think. Did you go to college? And if you didn't go to college and you're successful, why not understand that they could be successful too and not go to college? So we didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about whether you went to college or not, or whether, your husband went to college or not. We didn't talk about that. But it's a question. Did you? Or did you not? And you and your husband been together a long time. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing. And I thank you for wanting to and have reached out to say that there's some struggle with inside of your household with your kids. But we have to look at self first with all of it. And it's a blessing that your husband wanted to bring it to the table as well. Because it's like you're sick or tired of being sick or tired of the situation, so now you want to change the circumstances that's surrounding as well as the struggle that's in it. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Not at all. It's a good thing. Because you want that that togetherness. You want that. And it's a good thing because it's not where one wanting one thing and another person wants something else. You both are wanting the same thing. You both are wanting to come together because you're sick or tired of being sick or tired. So you want to bring it together. And so now you're opening up yourself to sit at the table so that your kids can come to the table with you and open themselves up, and that you can help them by listening to what they have to say. It's tough. It's tough being parents. I tell you, it's tough. And regardless of how old they get, it's tough at times, But again, stay prayed up, be prayed up, and get into the Word. Get into the Word. And I think that, listening to you this week, and I believe you want to get the Lord in your life. You want Him in your life. And that's a good thing. So, as you told me that there is a Bible on your table. Okay. I'm glad to know that. Open it up. Open it up. And I guarantee you, when you open it up, you'll find a lot of answers there that can help you. That can help you and will help you, as well as help your kids. It will. And in doing that, you always have to, I think you have to know how to get yourself equipped for this journey and this renewing of your mind. You have to get yourself equipped for it. And in order to do that, you have to want to be strong in the Lord. You have to want to be strong in this word that you're getting ready to now embark upon, and having it to be a part of your life. Because right now, the way things are going, and the way things have been going within the last couple of years, we need him. We need him. We need him. You know, so life is amazing. Life is amazing, I tell you. It's amazing. But as I said earlier, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. I want to mention, because it's been this week, I was really surprised because I always get some phone calls, but or texts either after the night is over or the next day. But this week I had a lot of texts and a lot of emails and things wanting to bring things to the table and appreciate bringing things to the table, such as being in a holding pattern and like right now, the couple that called me, they feel as though they're in a holding pattern. They do. They feel it because they're just stuck. They're just stuck. But I want to also give out the request line once again, and that's 310-910-9676 extension 1. Again, 310-910-9676 extension 1 if you want to call in. And also, let me just give you, because I mentioned, I think maybe once, let me give you my email address for Bring It to the Table, because a lot of you emailed me off of Jalen All American Amputee Foundation, which is good too. But let me give you this email address. Bring It to the Table email address is bringgg to, that's the number 2, the table. Okay, it's bringgg, and that's GIGI, the number 2, the table at gmail.com. That's the email address to Bring It to the Table. And also, if you want to call me, because I have been getting calls, but it's been on my personal number, and I don't mind. But I'm going to give you the number to Bring It to the Table, and that's area code 323-990-2119. Again, the phone number is 323-990-2119. You can call me, and we can talk as I did this week, which has been a blessing to know that there are so many out there that are struggling with so many different things. Not only just struggling with health problems, but they're struggling with depression. And I've heard that this week a lot, that there's a war of depression. And my heart goes out. But we can bring that to the table as well. We can talk about it. And again, you know, I think talking things out helps. Especially when you go deep down inside yourself and you let it come up. And I'm going to say it this way. When it's deep down inside, you got to regurgitate it up. You got to regurgitate. Meaning, bring it up. You've got to bring it up. Because letting it sit, it's no good. And I've had people to call me this week, Rashid, and just cry over the phone. Just cry because they're struggling with so much, and they're depressed. You know. And for me, I'm not a counselor. All I can do is let you scream and cry. That's all I can do, you know, because I can't tell you how to handle really the depression, but I can listen and let you bring it up and bring it out. And I think that's more helpful than trying to give somebody a word and it's not the right word. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you just want to call me, like so many have done this week, call me. I'm not going to give an opinion on it because I'm not that knowledgeable, and that's not my expertise. But my expertise is to be able to listen and let you cry, scream, holler, whatever. And a lot of times when you just can scream at the top of your lungs, you feel better. So, again, call me. I'm here for you. And if you want to bring it to the table, you can. And you could do it one of two ways. You can call in and talk about it, or you can come into the studio here and bring it to the table and we can talk about it. Whichever way is comfortable for you, because I do want you to be comfortable. And I try to make it comfortable when you come in to sit down and talk about whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever it is that you want to talk about. You know, because like Rashi said earlier, holding it in is no good. Not good at all. And that's a lot of times we hold things, and I could be wrong on this, but my feeling is that a lot of times when we hold things in, it's because we're too embarrassed to talk about it with somebody else. We're too embarrassed about what it is that we're going through or what it is that we're holding inside. We're too embarrassed. But being embarrassed about it is not going to help you solve the situation or get the situation solved. It's not. You know. So don't be embarrassed about it. Don't be embarrassed. And there are times when you're embarrassed about something and you want to talk to an individual about it, and you're too embarrassed to talk to the individual about it, but it may be the individual that you need to talk to about it. You know, but I did say earlier, you can't always go to somebody and talk. You shouldn't always go to somebody and talk about the situation. But then again, that depends on the situation and you yourself as to where is it that you want to talk about it to somebody that you trust. But for me, I trust the Lord. That's who I trust. And I find for me, when I talk about something that I'm going through and I'm talking about it out loud, I'm in my house just talking about it, and I guess the Lord just said, okay, let me just give this girl an answer. Let me just put this on her mind so that she'll know how to handle this. So I just talk about it out loud. Sometimes I'll pick up the phone and to discuss something, but again, it has to be with somebody that I truly trust. Truly trust. But I try to just, work it out with the Lord and pick up my word, my basic instructions before leaving Earth, and read some scriptures and renew my mind in it. That's what I try to do. And I hope that this will help somebody else to say, hey, you know what, let me give that a thought. Let me give that a try. Because it's not working any other kind of way. It's just not working. So, but let me try this. So if I try this, this may work. It ain't gonna may work. It'll work. But you have to try it. And in order to try it, you have to renew your mind to want to try it. Because if you don't renew your mind to want to try it, then you're just still in that same situation and in that same pattern, that holding pattern, and you don't want to continue to be in that holding pattern, I know. And I had a call this week and talking about the holding pattern. And again, like I said, I didn't realize that the holding pattern is like what it's been opening up a can of worms. People realize, oh, holding pattern. Yes. Someone mentioned to me, when you're into holding pattern, you need permission to land. And I said, wow, okay, permission to land. And then they also said, one must wait for instructions as to which runway to land. Wow, that's another one. And then from there, they mentioned one must pull into the right gate. And the gate, you do. And the gate is the parental. You do. You have to know. So it was very interesting to know that. Wow. Okay. I have to look into that, and we're going to get into that a little more too, because it's very interesting to know that you need permission to land when you're in the holding pattern. So this week, I had people calling and emailing and wanting to touch on holding pattern, wanting to touch on circumstances, wanting to touch on struggles. So, we're just kind of dabbing here, dabbing there, dabbing here, dabbing there to be able to touch on those things. And I hope by touching on them that they will get some clarity in some of the things that they're going through and how they can come out of it and where it starts. And not only where it starts, but acknowledge the fact that it starts with self, and let me unmask myself to be able to get into knowing I got to peel off some stuff. I got to peel off this. I got to peel off that, And once you peel this off and peel that off, then you start to get through the circus. You start getting through it. And okay, now let me take that breath. Let me inhale and exhale and some things and see how things can get a little bit better and will be better. But you have to start somewhere. And starting first is understanding that you got to have the renewing of your mind to be able to want to push forward and get things done. Wouldn't you say, Rashid? You got to renew your mind. You've got to renew your mind in order to start to working things out, or things being worked out. Because if your mind is not renewed, you're still stuck right there.
That can be a bit of a process on its own. Not everybody is just going to be able to just flip that switch and say, you know what, I just need to just restart everything. For a lot of people, that's going to take them time. And it's the timetable is just going to depend on how deep they want to go or how deep they need to go. That whole rebuilding process of your mind, that can take years. That can take months. That could even take maybe a couple hours, but it's a situational thing. I would say, if anything else, it's more about being comfortable in your own skin, having people around you that can actually tell you the truth, so then you then have time to actually reflect on that and then be better from there.
What happens when you said that it takes time? It could take months, it could take years. But you have to, in order for people to be around you, and for you to accept them being around you and to accepting the truth, you have to understand, you have to renew your mind to be able to get ready to accept that. Because sometimes if your mind is not ready to accept the truth, you're still in that same situation. And if you got to wait for years before you can renew your mind, then you're just going to be in that box. Just going to be there. And you have to and I think in order to renew your mind, you have to get sick and tired of being where you are. Because if you're not sick and tired of being where you are, then no, you're not going to even want your mind to be renewed in situations. You know?
I would say, like, a lot of things that happen in life, some are learned behaviors, some are circumstances that happen that have scarred you.
Yes.
To the point where you've closed off that section of your mind to protect yourself.
Yes, I agree.
And so in those situations, it's a lot more difficult to actually break down those defensive barriers unless you have someone that is right there, willing and patient to actually help you through that process. And then there are times where you're able to do it on your own, but I think like the first push can be from an outside source to actually help you get that ball moving, and then you dribble it down the rest of the way.
That's a good point. But even with that, it takes a mindset.
Yeah.
Take a mindset. Because if your mind if you're scarred and you've been badly scarred, you may not even open up your mind to even want to listen to what that other person may want to be there to help you with or talk to you about. So, and I agree, in what you're saying, in the process of what you're saying, but it still takes that mind. You have to be ready for that, because if you're not ready for it, you're still closed off to even them helping you, even that person that you trust, and the person that's there with you know that, hey, I'm not here to hurt you or harm you or any of that, but that person has to have that mind ready to say, okay, I've been scarred. I trust him or her. So I'm gonna let them in. I'm gonna let them in.
Right, and then there are those individuals that are stuck in their ways, that will forever be stuck in their ways, where it's like you cannot change their mind about anything and everything, no matter what. They know everything, you do not. And it's like, as much as you want to help those individuals, there are times where you just have to just let them be.
Right, because again, their mind is stuck. They have not turned that mind around. They have not renewed that mind. So they're stuck in their ways, and all they see is their way.
Right.
Regardless of what you say. And you can take them to the Word of God, and they still, It could be right there in front of them. But they're stuck in their way. Again, it all points to the mind, whichever way the needle goes.
Yeah, in fact,
it's a mind thing.
Yeah, in fact, it's a mindset.
Yeah, totally.
And a mindset that can be learned, or that can just be nature.
Whichever way it goes, whichever way it goes. Well, it's been a good night. Just throwing some things out there that was brought to me this week with some people that are struggling, going through some things. But the beauty of it, is that they have renewed their minds enough to want to come out of the struggle and come out of the situation. So that's a good thing, because now they said they had to remove themselves out of the way in order to open up so that their kids can come and sit down and talk to them, and that they have an open heart and open mind to listen. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And keep me informed how things worked, how things are going, because I want to hear it and I want to be able to share it. But I would really like for you all to be able to come on and share it. But I also know, too, everybody doesn't like coming in, and they're good at just, calling me on the phone or emailing me with it. And that's good. I'll take that, too. Okay? Now, this is the weekend. Please be careful. They're still going through this thing, whether you wear a mask or don't wear a mask. But you know what's best for you. And love on your kids this weekend. But whatever you do, stay prayed up and know that this too that you're going through will pass. And what the world is going through shall pass, all in due time. Again, peace, one love.